Wish TV salutes 75 years of the Indianapolis 500.
Our regularly scheduled program will not be seen at this time so that we may bring you the following special.
You are looking at a live picture of Monument Circle, where over 11,000 runners get ready for the start of the 1991 Mini Marathon. Stay with us as we kick off race weekend in Indianapolis with Wish TV's live coverage of the Mini Marathon.
Welcome to the 1991 500 Festival Mini Marathon. Today's live start-to-finish coverage is sponsored by Diet Coke, F.C. Tucker Realtors, Noble Romans, and by Michelob Dry.
There you go.
The conditions at this hour in Indianapolis, it's partly sunny, 71 degrees, the humidity very high at 90%, and a slight breeze out of the south at 9 miles an hour. Well, hello and welcome. I'm Fred Kalil, along with Dennis McNulty, assistant track and cross-country coach at Warren Central High School. And Dennis, as we look to the 15th annual Mini Marathon, what do you look for?
I tell you what, it's going to be a barn burner. 90% humidity, even if it's 71 degrees, is really going to soak the runners. They're going to need to hydrate themselves throughout the race. Hopefully the guys who have been prepared have been doing that for the last day or two.
Now, let's not talk about maybe who's here, but who's not here. We've got some people who didn't show this time.
Yeah, Fred, the defending champion in the men's division and the defending champion in the women's division are not back. Ruth Osmond, our winning runner for the females last year, has moved to Portland, Oregon. Keith Hansen has a plantar fasciitis injury from Marquette University out of Milwaukee, and he'll not be back.
Well, let's go to Dick Rea, who's standing by downtown near the start line. Dick?
Well, good morning, Fred, and this truly has evolved in one of the premier amateur events here in the state of Indiana, and the anticipation right now starting to build as the runners inch their way ever closer to the starting line at Meridian and Ohio Streets. They're stretched out, they're ready to go, 11,000 runners, the countdown very much like we'll see on race day at the Indianapolis 500. This is the 15th running of this spectacular event. The wheelchair competitors just left the starting line just moments ago. Of course, they'll finish at that spectacular yard of brick at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Lots of anticipation, lots of color. They come from all different shapes and sizes. They've been training for several months, waiting for this moment. And now for the start of the Indianapolis 500 Festival Mini Marathon for the 15th year. Let's send it back to Fred Kalil.
Thank you very much, Dick Rea, and we are just moments away from the start of this race. And they're off. And Dennis McNulty, we're going to put you on the spot again. You called it last year, buddy. You were on the money. So come on. Who we got this year?
Get me live.
Well, of course.
Last year I was lucky. Keith Hansen seemed to be a prohibitive favorite. Had it not come down to a track race. Keith is not back. Greg Meyer was injured. He's not running because of injury. Dave Moore is concentrating on track. We're going to have to look at 4 or 5 guys. Gary Romesser won this race 4 times, running extremely well. Gary's 40. He's a Masters now. He's one of the top Masters runners in the USA. You got to look at him. Tim Milan, considerably one of the better runners here in the central Indiana area. Wins almost every 10K, 5-mile race, and so forth. He enters. He's going to be up there. And a few other people that I'll bring along later. Andy Fields, another one that's run real well. The LA Marathon in 2:27.
You're quite the politician. I guess you're not going to pick one. What about for the women this time?
In the women's race, I'm going to be a politician too. Evan Bye's in there, but he's not in the women's division. But I'm going to give you an Evan Bye answer.
Okay. I was going to say, does he run like a girl? No. Okay, no. Governor, we're joking. We're just joking.
Carlene Erickson looks like she's going to be up there. Andrea Polillo out of West Lafayette will run well. And also a gal from Marianne Dickerson.
As we look at the wheelchair participants, we're just at 10th and Meridian now, and just to give you an idea, they started out at Monument Circle. The runners will come up Meridian and pass us right here at our Wish TV studios at 20th and Meridian.
It looks like Butch Martin out ahead earlier, our wheelchair winner from last year, and he looks really strong. A tremendous wheelchair athlete.
And fortunately, we will stay on course. Carburation day was completed yesterday. We had a lot of calls at the station last night wondering Is it going to be the same course? Yes, it is. As you see the crowd, Dennis, what is it like you've run in this event to start in the back of this pack?
Oh, it's a lot of fun. One of our features that we're going to do later in the broadcast, Bill Wilhelm and I, we play a game called Scoot from time to time. We'll go to a big race like this, and we're the last runner to start the race, and we'll try to pass as many people as we can throughout the race, and it's actually fun. Some of the people will take almost 5 minutes before they actually get to the starting line. 5 minutes?
Yeah. So one guy, the lead runner, may have already run a mile by the time you even get off the line.
You bet. It's a lot of fun, though. Another way to look at this race is look at it from the front. Here's your leaders. There's Tim Milan in the sunglasses. Gary Romesser to his right on the left there with the Nike uniform. Those two look like they're going to be your favorites early on. We'll have to wait and see. Like I said, they're just shagging out. They're only 800 meters into the race.
Tim Milan from Carmel. And
sure.
Again, he's the guy to look for in the neon sunglasses.
Correct. The guy on the right with no shirt is will be a junior next year at Purdue, Todd Messer. Their #1 runner in cross country and their #1 10,000 meter man in track right now. And like I say, early on, just testing the water. I suspect they're going to run rather conservatively. They're at about 10th Street now, which again, you're about 1,000 meters into the race. Gary Romesser, I talked to him earlier this week. He said he wants to shoot for the U.S. record for Masters, which is 1 hour 6:25. To do that in this weather would be a feat that, gee whiz, you'd have to give him the Masters record plus. But I think 1 hour 6:25, should he set that in this race, will probably win it.
What kind of pace do you look for in this weather?
I think it's going to be slower. Of course, Keith Hansen set the course record last year at 1:04.13.
Those were almost ideal conditions.
Oh, yeah.
So even though it was raining a little bit last year, I mean, it was cool, and the rain, I think, may have helped a great deal because, you know, not only is it cool, but you get that nice little light rain on you as you're running.
Right. People need to understand, if it's comfortable for spectators and volunteers, it's usually terrible for your runners. Here's Bill Wilhelm and his daughter Heather. We're going to do a feature with Bill later on. Again, Bill's a guy, he's probably the most visible and notable runner around Indianapolis and certainly one of the nicest people you ever meet. You'll really enjoy the package we have coming up. Back to the weather thing, if it's usually terrible conditions like rain or a little cool, for spectators, it's going to be great for the runners. Because, again, the heat, you've got to throw off a lot of heat in your body. And a day like today, it's really going to be tough.
As we look from up top there, you can see the cathedral on the right-hand side of your screen as the runners come up Meridian. Look at that. Over 11,000 runners competing today. And a lot of guys I know that, at least the guys I talk to at the athletic club, they're just in it for fun. And they just want to have a good time and just say they did it. So, and we want to bring you all of that. We're going to try to bring you the people in the middle of the pack and the people in the back of the pack.
Right behind us, this is Butch Martin. He's our wheelchair leader. We're at 3,000 meters. That's almost 2 miles. And Butch should look really well. Here comes our second wheelchair, already 100 meters behind. We've got Russell Sears out of Lafayette. That's number 18 out ahead. This is our number 2. This is Frank Epperson.
And again, we're at 1901 North Meridian. Our studios are at 1950, so he is just passing our Wish TV Channel 8 studios.
Correct.
At this moment.
We're at about 3,000 meters. In that in that men's pack in the lead, you see Russell Sears, you saw Milan, you saw Romesser. Russell Sears is an interesting person. He was impressed. I knew that what an actuary was. He called me and said, "What's an actuary?" Or he said he's an actuary. And I said, "Oh yeah, you do a lot of mathematics numbers, figure insurance rates." He's amazed. He's got 4:05 speed from college. He ran 24:04 in the Polar Bear Run in Indianapolis, which is one of the big kickoff runs of the annual season, usually around Valentine's Day. He was second in our D-Run run, which is a 10K, and ran 30 minutes and 20 seconds. So Sears looks to be one of the favorites, too. We'll have to see how the race unfolds.
That's good. Look at that. Everybody's on TV.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
That's right. If you're going to run in this event, you got to try to get on TV, Dennis.
Well, this is the greatest spectacle in racing as far as I'm concerned. A lot of these guys I see in my neighborhood. I live out on the east side, and one of the areas that I live in it happens to be a running area. And pictures you're seeing right now are 10th Street and Meridian, and it's great to see. I'm out in the mornings a lot of times, and I see these people out running, and they always, look at me like, I've seen that guy before, and it turns out I'm the guy that does the TV stuff.
And now, just over our shoulder here at 19th Street in Meridian, the police escort.
Here
And
come
the Dodge convertible, the official car,
Sure.
is coming up.
Okay, here come our leaders, and like I say, we can look over our shoulder. Again, we're at about 3,000 meters, just short of the 2-mile mark. And again, you see, this is Russell Sears out ahead, Tony Nading in behind him, and not certain. I'll have to get an ID on our runner in the red shorts here for you. Time is going really well. They're taking it out kind of quickly. Okay, your lead pack right there, a pack of 5. You've got Sears, Romesser, Milan, Messer. We'll ID the runner on your camera on the left. Tim and Gary, of course, traveled to a lot of races just this last weekend. In fact, Gary ran a 14:52 in Chicago. An interesting story. 14:52 for 5,000 meters, an excellent time by anybody's choice. That's just 6 seconds off the United States Masters record for 5K. He told me halfway in the race, a train came across the track. And right in front of the race, they had to stop and wait on a train to clear. He said he lost about 20 seconds waiting on a train.
Surprised you didn't lose more. Russell Sears, he's number 18. He is in the middle of your screen. Gary Romesser is on the number 4. He's got the neon and the dark uniform on. And then to our immediate right is Tim Milan of Carmel in the lead pack as they come by us here at our Wish TV studios at 20th and Meridian, the 15th annual 500 Festival Mini Marathon here on Wish TV Channel 8.
We'll have the first female coming by not too long from now. We'll see if we can pick her out. Again, we're right here at the studios just before 2 miles. We're about 200 meters in front of 2 miles.
We're back to 10th and Meridian now, watching
Correct.
all the people coming by and waving.
Yeah.
I want to remind everybody that's watching now, if you know someone who was in the race, be sure to tell them that there'll be an encore presentation of this. We'll replay the entire broadcast tonight at 11:35, following News 8 at 11 o'clock.
All kinds of people now are starting to yell at us, and so all my guys that I coach out at the at Warren Central High School have threatened to scream all kind of things in the background. Okay, here's Russell Sears. Sears running quite well. Gary Romesser and Tim Milan, your leaders, as we move to our first break.
And we'll be back with more of the 500 Festival Mini Marathon right after this.
Oh, we just wanted to say thanks. You know, we went from computer printouts to a beautiful new home. I'm amazed. You made a lot of information come to life. Not only do we now know what a purple is, we've enjoyed 2 fires already. And I love the porch. It's sure been nice working with a professional like you.
For over 70 years, Tucker has matched more people with the right homes and more homes with the right people. Talk about success.
In the past, I've never been what you'd call a big winner. But today, I'm playing Hot Top. It's true. Every top is a winner. Cool. A Hardee's Big Deluxe Burger.
Play Hot Tops from your Coca-Cola bottler and win instantly.
Whoa, primo trips to Indiana Beach.
Just look under specially marked tops on 2-liter Coca-Cola products.
Yikes, free trips to Florida on US Air.
You can even win an official Indy 500 car, the hot all-new Dodge Stealth RT Turbo. Hot Tops from Coca-Cola. They're one hot property.
There are those who thirst for something different. Something beyond the ordinary. For them, there is a beer that refreshes like no other. Michelob Dry. Once you've experienced its bold taste with no aftertaste, there's no going back.
When I shop for my family, they don't say much about the brands I choose, except for Mike Sells potato chips. They say it has to be Mike Sells, because they really do taste better. That's because they're prepared in 100% premium peanut oil, which makes them so naturally delicious.
When it comes to potato chips, everyone in the family loves Mike Sells. And whether it's old-fashioned, groovy, or original, they all agree. Mike Sells. They are delicious.
Late. The live broadcast of the 500 Festival Mini Marathon. I'm Fred Kalil along with Dennis McNulty as we look at the lead pack, Dennis.
Correct. They're just past the Fall Creek Bridge, just heading up toward the museum, the Children's Museum, where they'll make their first left-hand turn, past 2 miles and so on. They went through 2 miles under 10 minutes, and in this weather, that's phenomenal.
You know, as we look at 10th and Meridian and a lot of the people still going by there on 10th Street, a guy just ran by our Channel 8 studios. I thought it was kind of neat. It was a fellow by the name of Matt Morris, and he's running for fun. He had number 14. You know, he just happened to have the number 14 on his entry list, and he's wearing the A.J. Foyt cap, rooting for the first 4-time champion at the Indianapolis 500, who says this will be his last. And we are back now to our studios just outside of Wish TV Channel 8 at 20th Street and Meridian as we see the pack going by.
Oh, this is great. This is super. This is what the mini marathon's all about. Yeah, you've got your 20, 25 guys that are going to be up toward the lead, you know, and you've got your women, they're up toward the lead. But the bottom line, the mini marathon is a mass participation event. Boy, my goodness, all the people behind is going nuts. It's a participation event. It's something to get people out of the living room, off the couch, and get out there and get in shape. And that's what's neat about it. It's a chance for the 500 Festival in Indianapolis to bring the 500 Festival to more people.
We have over 11,000 runners again entered in this race.
We probably have 2,000 or 3,000 other people who are not registered running. We'd heard reports earlier that there were somewhat near 15,000. Now, you look on, and you see Gary and Tim running quite well. Tim looks very good, very conserved, right in the middle. Gary on the right always looks like he's laboring, but that's a natural motion for Gary in his running technique.
I'm glad you brought that out, because when he came by our studios, I thought, is it already?
Yeah. Now, we used to call Gary Worm, and in college. Main reason, because when he runs, looks like a little inchworm, inching along and so on. But you see Gary and Tim looking pretty well. Russell Sears really looks like he's struggling. Looks like he's driving. They're moving along, and they're just at 3 miles. I think the mile marker should come into your camera pretty soon. We're at about 14:30 into the race.
And Eric Halverson is running in the marathon. Wish TV's new news anchor. Hello, Eric. How are you?
Well, I'm doing okay. I get some of the strangest looks out here as people see this getup I'm wearing on top of my head here and with the stuff strapped in. Now, I wouldn't be here if I had trained just on my own. I had a class that got me this far.
All righty, and we're going to be checking in with Eric Halverson throughout the morning, if he holds up.
Yeah, well, let's hope he does.
And there he is, Gary Romesser,
Tim Milan, and Russell Sears.
You know, we talked about the weather conditions, and we compared today's conditions to that of last year's mini marathon. Well, then it was 60 degrees and rainy. It wasn't much for the spectators, but for the participants, it was another matter altogether. It was the kind of day only a runner could love. 10,000 runners, walkers, joggers, jugglers, and jesters crowded onto the cool, rain-soaked streets of Indianapolis for the 1990 Mini Marathon. For the front runners, the conditions couldn't have been better. Keith Hansen of Milwaukee and Dave Mora of Bloomington set a record pace for the legions who followed them.
This is good. You won't have anybody dying of heat exhaustion today.
Not everyone was thrilled by the intermittent rain. Wheelchair athlete Butch Martin was the first to cross the finish line, and for him, the wet streets were a nuisance.
But the able-bodied probably are enjoying this. They played havoc with me, dodging all the mud puddles. I probably went 15 miles going zigzag and missing all the mud puddles.
Hansen and Moore briefly traded leads as they broke away from the rest of the pack. Both broke mini marathon records, with Hansen crossing the finish line at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway a minute and a half faster than any runner in previous years.
I was sweating. I was working pretty hard for a while. Once I got rid of the cramp, I started to work on my intensity a little bit and just focus and run a good tempo.
Ruth Osmond came within seconds of a mini marathon record for women. She called the race one of her most exciting in her career as a runner.
I run the Olympic trials, and I think I was more nervous for this, which is ridiculous.
Behind the leaders came a steady stream of wet, panting runners. stretching out for miles. Each was going for his or her own personal best, heading up Crown Hill and through the Velodrome, up Coffin Hill and beyond, as they headed toward their final destination, 13 miles from where they began. And we're back live, the 500 Festival Mini Marathon here on Wish TV Channel 8.
Yeah, they're on the very short stretch. It's going to head over on the grass part of the area that cuts over onto Martin Luther King. Gary Romesser and Tim Milan, your leaders.
And we're back with more after this.
In the past, I've never been what you'd call a big winner. But today, I'm playing hot top. It's true. Every top is a winner. Cool. A Hardee's Big Deluxe Burger.
Play Hot Tops from your Coca-Cola bottler and win instantly.
Whoa, primo trips to Indiana Beach.
Just look under specially marked tops on 2-liter Coca-Cola products.
Yikes, free trips to Florida on US Air.
You can even win an official Indy 500 car, the hot all-new Dodge Stealth RT Turbo. Hot Tops from Coca-Cola. They're one hot property.
There are those who thirst for something different, something beyond the ordinary. For them, there is a beer that refreshes like no other. Michelob Dry. Once you've experienced its bold taste with no aftertaste, there's no going back.
Your man from Train announces an offer worth not waiting for. Don't wait another minute for the comfort of a Train air conditioning system. For a limited time, he'll give you a check for $250 instantly on the spot. No waiting.
Remember, gas is your best energy value. So call Aaron York's Quality Air Conditioning and Heating in Indianapolis or Rex Byers Heating and Cooling in Kokomo for your instant check now.
So what are you waiting for?
Oh, we just wanted to say thanks. You know, we went from computer printouts to a beautiful new home. I'm amazed. You made a lot of information come to life. Not only do we now know what a purple is, we've enjoyed 2 fires already. And I love the porch. It's sure been nice working with a professional like you.
For over 70 years, Tucker has matched more people with the right homes and more homes with the right people. Talk about success.
As you look at a live shot, we are close to Crown Hill on the course.
It looks like Gary's going to try to charge the hill and try to shake Tim. I think Gary has a lot of respect for Tim's speed and strength. Tim's quite a triathlete as well. And in a lot of races such as this, his triathlon training will carry over and help him. So there's going to be a dogfight. It depends on who can shake who. But I think it's going to be a 2-man race. I kind of mentioned that earlier. That's what it is. Now, it's tough to see from this helicopter view. They're going up a pretty steep hill. They're past the 4-mile mark and running well, right at 5-minute miles, which projects about a 65-minute pace. So they're doing a nice job.
And then you have Tim right in front there, and Gary Romesser just right behind him.
Yeah.
Tim Milan of Carmel, Gary Romesser right behind him as they head close to Crown Hill.
We'll try to get an update on the top female. You can see a little bit in the background there. This is one of the more steep hills on the race. I think it's one of the tougher hills. This is where a lot of things unfold. You remember last year, this is where Keith Hansen and Dave Morris separated themselves from the rest of the pack and kept moving. You'll come off to this uphill grade, which, by the way, is the tallest point in the city of Indianapolis, and then you'll go down to 38th Street, and you got a long downhill stretch. And if the pace is going to move fast, it starts right here.
Well, many of the runners prepared for this race on their own, setting their own pace. Others went to school. Marathon training classes are available. Expert runners, like Dennis here, will share their knowledge with runners of all skill levels. Special assignment reporter Eric Halverson was one of them.
I've been running for several years, but it's just been neighborhood running, nothing approaching competition. It was just a way to keep in shape. I talked about running in the Mini, but I never did it, and I'd heard enough horror stories about the pain it can cause that I decided if I'm going to run it, I'm going to run it right. So since February, I've been going to St. Francis Hospital.
If you've got most of the miles in since the course started, you ran from Indianapolis to Chicago. You know that?
Tom Hathaway is the coach of the Bricks to Bricks training program. The miles he assigned are essential, but preparing for the Mini is more than just running, and it's more than fancy shoes. All the gel and air cushions won't make a finisher out of someone who's not mentally ready for the Mini Marathon.
There's going to be things that you'll never forget. But do not forget this. Before that Mini's over, it could become one of the worst days of your life.
So these weekly classroom sessions help runners and walkers understand what they'll encounter out here. Even those who've run the Mini before appreciate the lessons.
Really, until you are in a program like this, you are not able really to know your potential and to prevent injuries and to do it in a smart manner, you know.
But some injuries may be unavoidable, so the classes offer advice for the victims of shin splints or knee pain.
I had been doing the right stretch for the calves and for the thighs and the hamstrings and stuff, and it was just not doing the one stretch for the IT band that got me into trouble.
Carla kept running cautiously and said she'd be ready for the Mini. Coach Hathaway is optimistic about all of his students' chances for success.
You're ready to go. You're better trained than I'd say 75% of the people is going to be in that race.
It's comforting to hear the coach say that. He's kept track of our mileage and listened to our injury reports, so he knows what we can do, but now the rest is up to us. And for those of us running the Mini for the first time, the excitement may just carry us through. But the organizers of Bricks to Bricks say if we follow the program, we'll enjoy all of this enough that we'll be back in the Mini next year. I'm Eric Hulverson for the Mini Marathon.
And Eric, we checked in with Eric earlier as we update the leaders now.
Sure, they're at 38th Street, just coming down to make the turn. And again, Tim Milan, Gary Romesser, running really well, past 5 miles, or approaching 5 miles, pardon me. And the pace still right at 5 minutes a mile, so they're really flying, moving along quite well.
Is this a quicker pace than you expected, given the 90% humidity and 71-degree heat?
I'll say this, it's a very courageous pace. I know Gary has a goal at 106.25, and he's trying to do that. Okay, now we're in the Lake Sullivan area. This Butch Martin running, moving really well. Strong upper body, good stroke, nice cadence. Hills really affect wheelchair athletes a lot more than it would a runner. He's coming up on a real critical part of the hill. The velodrome is just off to the right, and you see it's a new pavement, nice and smooth, but he's coming up on a monster of a hill. Not very long, but steep.
Well, getting back to Eric Halverson, who checked in with us moments ago, as we look at the leaders, he talked about just the emotion carrying him in his first time. And for a lot of these guys in their first time, I imagine adrenaline would have a lot to do with it, and drive just to go ahead and finish.
Oh yeah, that helps you in 2 parts of the race, and it hurts you in another part of the race. One part it always helps you is the finish. You know, it's your first time you've run a race like this, and you're excited, and so you know you're going to get through your last mile. It helps you in the middle part of the race, and you say, man, I want to quit. I can't take this anymore. And so you say, no way. I did all this work. It's my first time. I'm going to get the job done. But it can hurt you because the first-timers oftentimes go out too fast and make the mistake and pay the price later.
You know, I always think it's good to get a buddy. I mean, even if you don't know him, just go ahead. I mean, in a race this large, there's always somebody that's running at your pace that you can buddy up to.
Oh, you bet.
I mean, look at all these people like that that are right behind us.
And you never know who that buddy's going to be until race day, when you see how your race is going. Turns out there's a guy that's running just like you, and you end up running together.
Don't forget now, if your friends ran in today's Mini Marathon, get together with them and see how good they look on TV. We'll rebroadcast the race tonight at 11:35 following News 8. Stay with us.
The thirst for adventure is Michelob Dry. Refreshing beyond the ordinary. And once you've experienced the bold taste with no aftertaste, there is no going back.
Noble Romans on value. The enormous amount of toppings found in just one large Noble Romans Monster Pan Pizza weigh twice as much as the toppings from the guys who offer you 2 pizzas. So why buy 2 when you get more with 1? For a lot less money. Noble Romans. For a limited time, get a Monster Pan Pizza with 3 toppings for just $8.99.
It's a monster of a value.
Only at Noble Romans.
Your Central Indiana Buick dealers are offering the deal of the century. Yes, for a limited time only due to special factory and dealer arranged discounts, your monthly cost on a brand new 91 Buick Century is only $249. That's right, only $249 per month. Includes these features: air conditioning, cruise control, tilt steering, clock, AM/FM stereo, steel belted radials, and more. Don't wait, because the offer's so good, it's limited. See your Central Indiana Buick dealers for their $249 per month deal of the century today.
Grab a fashion look. In fact, grab 2. Because now you can afford it. For a limited time, get 2 complete pairs of glasses from only $69.98. Vision Values by Dr. Tavel has the area's largest frame selection. Today's hottest frame styles. And now you can grab 2 looks for only $69.98. Hurry, look for the Vision Value banner at Dr. Tavel. You'll save, and that's a promise from the doctor. 1 hour price.
This is a live picture from Turn 2 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You can see the skyline in the background just off 16th Street on Turn 2. And of course, not long from now, the runners will be coming up through the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and finishing at the start-finish line for the 500. It will be the finish line for the Indianapolis 500 Festival Mini Marathon. Fred Kalil along with Dennis McNulty as you look at the leaders.
Oh, yeah, Gary Romesser is looking really good. Tim Milan running right behind him. They're moving down now in the Velodrome area, approaching 6 miles. We're at 29 minutes. These guys are still under 5-minute mile pace, which is unbelievable at this stage. The 6-mile mark is just ahead. And this area, again, they're going to come by the Velodrome, new pavement. They're going to hit the real steep hill just past 6 miles. Looking good.
The running time on the bottom hand right of your screen. As we look at the map, let's take you through where these people start and finish. They start obviously on Monument Circle.
Oh yeah, here they go. Monument Circle at the starting line. Mile mark just past the interstate bridge. Just downtown, moving up right in our area now by the Channel 8 Studios at the 2-mile mark, down across the Fall Creek Bridge, and then they'll move up just by the Children's Museum at the 3-mile mark. Turn left at the Children's Museum, just passing the hospital areas, make another left, skirting Crown Hill. The 4-mile is on a narrow street just south edge of Crown Hill. Come across a little stretch of grass up the Northwestern Avenue, the Martin Luther King Avenue Hill. 5-mile mark is just on 38th Street. This is a long downhill area around the exit underneath Interstate 65, just to the 6-mile mark. Then right next to the Velodrome area, the Lake Sullivan area, move along, and at about 6 1/2 miles, you've got a very sharp hill right in front of Cold Springs Road, in front of Marion College, then your 7-mile mark. Then they move all the way up to 30th Street. They'll turn left and head down Soapbox Derby Hill, as it's called, down then to the White River Parkway by Coffin Golf Course, the 8-mile mark on Coffin Golf Course. Nice, pretty area. Then you come by a water station and up a killer hill. Good name, Coffin Hill. They come by the Mayor's Cannery at 9-mile mark, cut across, get on 16th Street, 10-mile mark, a great school kids out there every year. It's always fun to get a kid to high five, stuff like that. 16th Street's kind of tough. 11-mile mark right before you get in the track, just where we saw that last picture of downtown. Hang a right, go down through the tunnels. That hill in the tunnel sometimes kills you. You come out on the backstretch and you look and you think, good night, this is forever. I'll never get there. You get down to the 3rd turn, there's your 12-mile mark. Around the turn, watch the angles on the track, all the way down your final straightaway. You think, man, it's only 100 meters. Turns out it's a half-mile long. You got 13, then 13.1, the Art of Bricks. Great course.
2.5-mile oval. I bet that backstretch can seem forever.
Oh, it's forever. I never heard a person say, I cannot believe how long the backstretch is at the Mini.
And as we look live now at a picture right near the velodrome, if you ever are on I-65 South on your way into town, you can see the exit sign there. I'm sure that you recognize the road.
You got Lake Sullivan, you got your BMX, the velodrome, bicycle track, and you see Gary and Tim just past. Again, they're at about 6 1/4 miles at this point, just over 5-minute pace. So, I mean, they're going to run real close. Gary may have a shot at this record, out 1:06.25. That's 66 minutes and 25 seconds. It'll be a U.S. Masters record. They're coming up now to a real short but sharp hill. Gary's got extremely good arm drive for hill running.
It's Gary Romesser in the middle of your screen.
Correct.
And Tim Milan. And we'll be back with more on the 500 Festival Mini Marathon after this. Stay with us.
Oh, we just wanted to say thanks. You know, we went from computer printouts to a beautiful new home. I'm amazed. You made a lot of information come to life. Not only do we now know what a purple is, we've enjoyed 2 fires already. And I love the porch. It's sure been nice working with a professional like you.
For over 70 years, Tucker has matched more people with the right homes and more homes with the right people. Talk about success.
In the past, I've never been what you'd call a big winner. But today, I'm playing hot top. It's true. Every top is a winner. Cool. A Hardee's Big Deluxe Burger.
Play Hot Tops from your Coca-Cola bottler and win instantly.
Whoa, primo trips to Indiana Beach.
Just look under specially marked tops on 2-liter Coca-Cola products.
Yikes, free trips to Florida on US Air.
You could even win an official Indy 500 car, the hot all-new Dodge Stealth RT Turbo. Hot Tops from Coca-Cola. They're one hot property.
Mike Ahern and Debbie Knox. Weeknights at 5, 6, and 11. And Debbie Knox. Weeknights at 5, 6, and 11.
Gary Romesser in front as we are back live. I'm Fred Kalil along with Dennis McNulty, and this is the 500 Festival Mini Marathon.
Oh, it looks good. It looks like Gary's trying to pull away from Tim at this point. Tim looks a little bit labored at this area. You're right in front of Marion College on Cold Springs Road. You're just on 7 miles, coming up just under 35 minutes. But Gary, through this spring, is probably having one of the better springs of his life. You got to consider he turned 40 last year on November 26th. 30:07 10K 3 weeks ago in Norfolk, Virginia. 30:07, that's like 4:50 a mile. He ran 14:52 earlier for a 5K a week ago in Chicago, as I said. He's our 4-time winner. He's looking really good. The distance you see there is deceiving. Looks like Tim's right behind him, but you've got about a 15, 20-meter gap.
And that is Tim Milan from Carmel is right behind Gary Romesser. And this is recorded a little bit earlier.
Yeah,
this is the third place runner.
Third place runner, and I'm not certain who this is. He's running a strong race. You see, he's about 70 or 80 meters behind Tim. I'd love to be able to get an idea on that guy.
We'll check on that. And again, this is just next to the velodrome.
Okay, here's Russell. Here's Russell Sears, and the runner behind him has his shirt flipped up, so I can't ID him. Most of the guys I know by face. Sears looking really well. Here's Gary. Again, they're on Cold Springs now. They'll head up to 30th Street. They'll turn and head east on 30th. I call this Soapbox Derby Hill. And it looks like Tim just basically, right now, is really laboring. Gary is really pushing the pace. Looks good. Both these guys, Gary, they represent the Power Bar Racing team. Gary runs for Nike International. Obviously, you can see that by the logo. Running extremely well right now. Here's Butch. This is Butch Martin. Correct. This is Butch Martin now coming up, looking really good. This is coming up Coffin Hill, just heading down toward the Mayor's Cannery. He just paid the price. Again, the wheelchair athletes, when it's hilly, it really is tough on them.
Extreme upper body strength.
Oh, you know it.
Being
Butch
displayed by Butch Martin.
Tremendous athlete. Our defending champion in the wheelchair division.
Now,
a lot of these guys have a difficult time preparing. You never know what's going to be on race conditions. You know, you hear the weather reports, and And that's not an exact science, albeit it's very good. And I know most of the guys will drink as much water as they can, carbohydrate, and so forth. A lot of things are done preparing for the race itself.
As we look at the velodrome, you can see the people coming up there along I-65. Dennis, you talked about morning preparations. Well, let's take a look at those morning preps right now.
Okay, here's Gary.
71 degrees and 90% humidity, Dennis was just telling me, as we look at Gary Romesser. Now, you know, a lot of traffic this morning. You know, I don't usually wake up this early, but, you know, listening to the radio on the way in, I could not believe the traffic around the speedway, and I finally realized it was those Metro buses dropping these people, guys like Gary Romesser and the other runners here, dropping them off after they parked their cars because...
yeah, the mini marathon being a point-to-point race looks to be a very difficult race to get to. Most races start one spot, finish in another spot. Point-to-point races, you got to work out things like transportation, how can you get there, and so forth. On the monitor now, this is Andrea Palillo of Purdue. I'm not certain if she's our lead runner or not, just passed by another runner, and I'm going to have to ID this gal. She's from Sports Tech, and we'll get a number identification on her. I believe she's number 26 on the entries. We'll check and see. This is the Velodrome Hill.
And that is your women's leader, we believe, right now, as we're near the velodrome. And as you heard by the horn, the runners are by us, and we're back to traffic as Gary Romesser, man, he's looking strong.
Yeah, Gary, and I will give it to Gary. Gary is a hot weather runner. Some people just perform well. I'd say they got a cool radiator system or so forth. Gary, again, was last year our fourth place finisher. He's won this race 4 times, running extremely well at this time.
Gary Romesser is our leader, with Tim Milan of Carmel right behind him. And when we come back, Mike Ahern will look at a man who made history in this race. Stay with us.
Noble Romans on value. The enormous amount of toppings found in just one large Noble Romans Monster Pan Pizza weigh twice as much as the toppings from the guys who offer you 2 pizzas. So why buy 2 when you get more with 1? For a lot less money. Noble Romans. For a limited time, get a Monster Pan Pizza with 3 toppings for just $8.99.
It's a monster of a value.
Only at Noble Romans.
The thirst for adventure is Michelob Dry. Refreshing beyond the ordinary. And once you've experienced the bold taste with no aftertaste, there is no going back.
Just be yourself, Dorothy. I'm sure my parents will love you. Just don't discuss politics.
My head.
And I'd forget about the first husband.
Where's my Anacin?
When you've got a splitting headache, reach for Anacin. Anacin relieves headache pain better than regular strength Bear or Bufferin.
Glad you're feeling better, hon. They're here.
Anacin, strong pain relief for splitting headaches.
Dr. Robert P. Maddox on chiropractic care.
Spinal adjusting, ultrasound, and trigger point therapy provide relief for millions of Americans. At our state-of-the-art Maddox Chiropractic Clinic, these techniques and others provide relief from pain without expensive drugs. Call me now for a free spinal exam and consultation.
Maddox Chiropractic Clinic. Call right now for a free spinal exam and consultation.
We're back. I'm Fred Kalil along with Dennis McNulty. And you know, Dennis, one of the good things about being a 24-hour news service, you always have a meteorologist hanging around. So we're going to go to Randy Ollis, who's come out on the front lawn to give us a weather update. Randy?
Well, I tell you, Fred, we are watching the weather forecast here on this Friday morning. You know, it's very warm out there. The temperature pushing up to the 70s, the dew point temperature 70. The heat index, it feels like 80 degrees outside, so it's a very humid morning. Of course, it is stressful on all the runners out there. Now, along with the high humidity, we also have some showers showing up on radar that's going to kind of clip the area within the next hour or so. Our Doppler radar does show some showers and even a couple of thunder showers just west of the metropolitan area. They extend from just southwest of Danville, west of Martinsville, back out to around the Greencastle area. They are heading northeastbound about 25-30 miles an hour, so if they hold together, could bring in some refreshing, cooling rains here within the next hour or so. Again, they are moving northeastbound, should clip the metropolitan area, and as you can see the runners right there, that could hopefully here cool them down within the next hour or so. So we'll be watching out for radar here as the morning goes on.
All right, Randy, thanks very much. But the leaders should be finished, obviously, by then as we look at one of the water stations near the velodrome. Plenty of water stations out here today, and a lot of these guys, as well they should, taking advantage of it.
Okay, we're at 44 minutes into the race, where the lead runners are coming up on 9 miles, which puts them, again, along the Mayor's Cannery area, just past the Coffin Hill, and running pretty well. Yes, I think your lead runner is going to be in before rain hits, but the middle of the pack could get wet.
As we talk about taking in fluids and certain things as you go along the race course with all the water stations, as we look at Gary Romesser looking very strong right now, Eric Halverson has a story on fluid intake now.
Exercising muscles can generate 100 times more heat than muscles at rest, so your body needs fluid to keep cool. The National Institute for Fitness and Sports says dehydration will impair performance more than any other factor. Water is generally the best way to avoid that, and most of us don't get enough.
You can't wait until you're thirsty to drink.
The American College of Sports Medicine recommends 8-ounce glasses of water every day for everyone, even non-athletes. 8 ounces is only 1 cup of water. But athletes have other needs. They should get at least 2 glasses of water 2 hours before exercise and another glass or 2 within half an hour of an event. Then, take advantage of water stops every 15 minutes or so, such as these found along the course of the mini-marathon. You may lose as much as 2 quarts of water before becoming noticeably thirsty.
Typically, people stop drinking when their thirst is quenched, and you've only replaced about 2/3 of what your body actually needs.
Many athletes depend on sports drinks to replace lost fluid after workouts, but they're not essential.
Can use plain water, fruit juices if they're diluted. You know, they may be too sweet if you drink them straight. Watery foods, milk, and non-caffeinated beverages.
Caffeine is a diuretic, so drinks containing caffeine will cause more water loss as body waste, so they should be avoided.
Any weight you lose during exercise is not fat weight, it's only water loss.
And those pounds should be replaced. You should drink 16 ounces or 2 glasses of water for each pound lost during your workout. And the colder it is, the more quickly it will be absorbed into the system. Eric Halverson, Wish TV News 8, on special assignment.
Thank you, Eric. And now this is Neil Gassman, who has moved into second place. The leaders are near the golf course on Cold Springs Road. And again, that's Neil Gassman, and there is our leader.
Correct.
Gary Romesser.
Gary Romesser is your leader. You see behind him Neil Gassman. Neil Gassman just graduated from the University of Illinois. I checked my Big Ten track results. He was a runner-up in the 10,000 meters a year ago. He's got good track speed. Also, back to his freshman, sophomore years at Illinois, he was a junior All-American at 10,000, so he has good track speed. It'll be interesting to see if Neil can close the gap on him, and we may have a good foot race once we get to the track.
Last year, Mike Ahern gave us a brief history of the mini marathon. This year, the franchise introduces us to a man who was a part of that history.
In searing heat, in a steady rain, over the years, the men and women who run the mini marathon have been building their own May tradition in Indianapolis.
And when the runner stepped off here at the starting line on Monument Circle, in the pack was Billy Sedam. You might call him a kind of living mini history of the mini marathon.
Billy Sedam is a 63-year-old General Motors retiree who hasn't missed a race since he ran in the second mini marathon in 1978. Back then, the Fellowship of Christian Athletes ran the show, and they brought in superstars like Frank Shorter and Bill Rogers to set the pace.
Their philosophy was that they wanted to have world-class runners in this race.
The 500 Festival Associates took over the race in 1979, and while it remains competitive for the serious runners, Billy says it's become a kind of fun outing or a personal challenge for the others.
Unfortunately, 60% of the runners that are in this race really haven't trained to run up to their potential, but only 30% of the runners in this race are really competitive. And so many of them just consider this one just happy family, camaraderie, and a big fun run.
And there's something more. Just as the 500-mile race is the main event in auto racing, so this mini marathon is the big show in its class. With well over 10,000 runners on the course right now, it is the largest half marathon in the country. Billy says, quite simply, it is prestigious to be among them.
That was last year's women's winner, Ruth Osman, as we look at today's leader going on at a great clip, Gary Romesser.
Gary Romesser checking over. That's good and that's bad. Sometimes a smart runner will check and see on turns. Also, another thing that when a guy looks back, that's a sign of, not confidence or like that. I don't think that's the case with Gary. Gary looks very good, very strong. Like I say, he's coming up the 10-mile mark. That's right on 16th Street. Tough to say. Okay, there's Neil Gassman coming along. It's going to be close. It's going to be close.
Relive the month of May at the Speedway and the events leading up to this year's Indianapolis 500 as Wish TV presents a Sports Locker Extra, Countdown to Glory, Saturday night at 6:30 following News 8. It's the final word on the track happenings prior to the race. Sports Locker Extra, Countdown to Glory, 6:30 Saturday night, right here on Wish TV, Channel 8.
There are those who thirst for something different, something beyond the ordinary. For them, there is a beer that refreshes like no other. Michelob Dry. Once you've experienced its bold taste, with no aftertaste, there's no going back.
Noble Romans on value. The enormous amount of toppings found in just one large Noble Roman's Monster Pan Pizza weigh twice as much as the toppings from the guys who offer you 2 pizzas. So why buy 2 when you get more with 1? For a lot less money. Noble Romans. For a limited time, get a Monster Pan Pizza with 3 toppings for just $8.99.
It's a monster of a value.
Only at Noble Romans.
Oh, we just wanted to say thanks. We went from computer printouts to a beautiful new home. I'm amazed. You made a lot of information come to life. Not only do we now know what a purple is, we've enjoyed 2 fires already. And I love the porch. It's sure been nice working with a professional like you.
For over 70 years, Tucker has matched more people with the right homes and more homes with the right people. Talk about success.
Presenting Mike Sell's old-fashioned potato chips.
Old-fashioned potato chips? Okay, maybe. I mean, they are different. They're crispier, crunchier, potato-ier. Is that a word?
Anyway, I'm not what you'd call an old-fashioned girl, but I do love the taste of these old-fashioned potato chips. They're great.
One taste and you'll say, Mike sells. They are delicious.
This is the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and this is Butch Martin, the wheelchair leader on the track.
Yeah,
The 500 Festival Mini Marathon. I'm Fred Kalil along with Dennis McNulty. Go ahead,
He's coming
buddy.
up on the 12-mile mark. He has a little over a mile to go. Last year he went in 58 minutes. Going to be real close, if not better than the time he did last year. And this heat, that's tremendous.
Back on the men's side, Gary Romesser is still our leader with Neil Gassman behind him.
That gap should be closing. It'll be interesting to see when they approach the 11-mile mark, which right now they're at about 10.5 mile. There we have a read on it. Neil looks like he's about 40 meters behind, and about 40 meters behind Neil is Tim Milan. We'll just kind of have to wait and see. Gary has some good speed. Like I say, he's run the 14:52 just last week.
And now we're back to the velodrome area where you can see the fun runners, you'd call them. Of course, I don't know. You run 13 miles. It's more than a fun run, big guy.
It's
At
all
least for me.
perspective. You know, another way to look at it is yeah, we see guys like Gassman and Romesser up there, you know, really busting it. But the pain and the effort on the body is just as tough, just as difficult for these guys.
Chris Cooper.
Correct. Chris Cooper, our women's leader, runs out of Sports Tech, looks real good right now. Running really efficiently. Moving now this area again, just off the Coffin Hill, moving up, approaching 9 miles, looking really well.
So Chris Cooper is our women's leader, and Gary Romesser is our men's leader. And Gary going after the Masters record, and he is, to our knowledge, on record pace right now, which would really be an accomplishment considering the heat, 71 degrees, the humidity, 90%, and as our meteorologist Randy Alice told us moments ago, the heat index, 80 degrees for these runners as they try to make it up the hill.
Correct. That condition in the road running business is kind of called code yellow, where you need to take in an excessive amount of fluids, potential for danger, and hypothermia exists, and so on. Unfortunately, I'd like to be able to say, yeah, Gary's going to run such and such a time. I'm not able to give you exact mile splits. I happen to know the course pretty well and know where the mile times and mile marks are, but to be able to give you exact splits. Yeah, this is Andrea Polillo running out of Purdue. Her husband is the assistant women's track coach at Purdue, running real well. Andrea's out of Scotland, a former All-American at 10,000.
She is in second place right now. We showed you our leader, Chris Cooper, in the women's division. Gary Romesser still leads our men's division at the 500 Festival Mini Marathon. And get the inside story on this year's Indy 500 when we bring you Sports Locker Extra 500 Miles to Glory. That's Sunday night at 8. A full hour of highlights, interviews, and Speedway celebrations. So join us Sunday night at 8 on Sports Locker Extra 500 Miles to Glory.
In the past, I've never been what you'd call a big winner. But today, I'm playing Hot Top. It's true. Every top is a winner. Cool. A Hardee's Big Deluxe Burger.
Play Hot Tops from your Coca-Cola bottler and win instantly.
Whoa, primo trips to Indiana Beach.
Just look under specially marked tops on 2-liter Coca-Cola products.
Yikes, free trips to Florida on US Air.
You could even win an official Indy 500 car, the hot all-new Dodge Stealth RT Turbo. Hot Tops from Coca-Cola. They're one hot property.
There are those who thirst for something different. Something beyond the ordinary. For them, there is a beer that refreshes like no other. Michelob Dry. Once you've experienced its bold taste with no aftertaste, there's no going back.
Noble Romans on value. The enormous amount of toppings found in just one large Noble Roman's Monster Pan Pizza weigh twice as much as the toppings from the guys who offer you 2 pizzas. So why buy 2 when you get more with 1? For a lot less money. Noble Romans, For a limited time, get a Monster Pan Pizza with 3 toppings for just $8.99.
It's a monster of a value.
Only at Noble Romans.
What do people see in your eyes? Do they see who you really are? Who you want to be? Mystique contact lenses by Dr. Tavel can change brown eyes to blue, blue eyes to green, your eyes to the eyes you want, naturally, comfortably, beautifully. Now, turn your brown eyes blue for only $99.98, or get clear, daily, or extended wear soft lenses for only $39.98 a pair. At Dr. Tavel, there's always something special for your eyes, and that's a promise from the doctor.
We're back live. I'm Fred Kalil along with Dennis McNulty. And there is Gary Romesser, a shot from turn 2 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway as he is heading down 16th Street and will fast approach the main gate, Gate 2. He will go under the tunnel and then into the Speedway.
He's passed 11 miles running well.
As you look from up top, there is Gary Romesser entering.
Gassman's going to have to close quick to make this a race. There's a short, sharp hill going through the tunnel.
And now you can't see him because he is going right under the track. And we will pick him up again as he comes through the tunnel. There he is, Gary Romesser, the leader at the Indianapolis 500 Festival Mini Marathon, as he's coming up a hill and getting ready to head onto the track.
Right, you cut over a short section there where you have to kind of go into the infield, turn right. There's a water stop just past this area that we'll see. And you turn right, then you'll come out and turn left right on the backstretch. And it looks like a long way. Looks like Gary's asking for information. I think he's wanting to know where's Gassman, how much of a lead does he have. Oftentimes that information. You can see Gassman behind now. He's starting to come out. Neil is going to have to close a little bit. You know, right now it looks like he's right behind him. We've got about 50 meters.
You talked about Neil being a very good track star.
Correct.
What will that do as you approach the final... final mile and a half?
Yeah, a rule of thumb is go with the track man if it comes down to a foot race, with side-by-side sprint. When I say a foot race, obviously this is a foot race, but when we actually have, it comes down to a 200-meter sprint, 100-meter sprint, you almost always put your money on the track man. But that's not always true. Gary's an extremely strong runner and does sometimes work on his speed to try to hone and cue that. So it's not always an exact science. But as a general rule of thumb, if a guy's got good track credentials like Gassman, then you would go with him. But, like I say, the camera is so deceiving. There is about 100 meters right now. 50 to 100 meters is tough to say, and it's just an estimate. Gary's on the backstretch. The ideal way to do this is like hit Gary on a stopwatch and then time how many seconds lead he has. But you can kind of see panning backwards. Gassman's going to have to close real quickly, or Gary's got his 5th Indianapolis Mini.
I would imagine at this pace for the Mini, if you're talking about a long race, I would imagine 100 meters would be what, around 15-second lead?
Yeah,
maybe
a long
more.
race like this, probably about 18 seconds or so. I know about where they are when they run. I'm going to say the time is probably going to be about an hour 7, hour 8 range.
Butch Martin.
Oh, you bet.
The 1991 wheelchair winner, and Mark Patrick spoke with him just moments ago when he won. This was recorded on
There
tape.
he is, to be greeted by the 500 Festival Queen.
Butch finishing looking real good. Again, this is a tape. He just finished a couple minutes ago.
Butch Martin defends his title in the wheelchair. 1991 champion. We congratulate Butch Martin, the 1991 Mini Marathon.
Okay.
As we go to the velodrome and see some of these guys that they're making it.
Oh, it looks great. Like I say, these people are running 9.5, 10-minute miles, and it's a lot of work. Like I say, these people work and go through some of the same training concepts as guys like Gary and Gassman do as well.
The boys of summer hit the diamond this Saturday at noon when the LA Dodgers meet the defending world champions Cincinnati Reds at Riverfront Stadium. Saturday at noon on Wish TV, followed by the Southwestern Bell Colonial Classic.
Oh, we just wanted to say thanks. We went from computer printouts to a beautiful new home. I'm amazed. You made a lot of information come to life. Not only do we now know what a purple is, we've enjoyed 2 fires already. And I love the porch. It's sure been nice working with a professional like you.
For over 70 years, Tucker has matched more people with the right homes and more homes with the right people. Talk about success.
Wish TV salutes 75 years of the Indianapolis 500.
From Wish TV Channel 8, this is Indiana's own 24-hour news service.
Good morning, I'm Kathy Knobel. New York City Mayor David Dinkins is calling for the sale of $3 billion worth of banknotes to help that city's financial status. Those details came out of an 11th-hour plan to help raise cash for the financially ailing city. And weather-wise today, there's a chance for showers later this afternoon, a high in the mid-80s. Currently it's 76 degrees in Indianapolis. This is News 8, your 24-hour news service.
This is your 24-hour news service.
Gary Romesser leads the 1991 Indianapolis 500 Festival Mini Marathon. I'm Fred Kalil along with Dennis McNulty. This is live coverage on Wish TV Channel 8, and Gary's looking pretty good, Dennis.
Okay, Gary's looking well. Looks like we have an interview coming up with Mark Patrick on our wheelchair winner, Butch Martin.
Mark?
Thanks very much, and this is a terrific story. Butch Martin has just finished moments ago as the winner of the wheelchair portion of the race, and Butch, it was a tough physical battle for you today around the 7-mile mark.
Yeah, it was. I hydrated tremendously in anticipation of the heat. I think I hydrated a little too much and got some stomach cramps about the 8-mile mark. Took me a couple miles to work it out, and so I decided to push a more comfortable race. Knowing there was nobody around me, so I took it kind of easy.
Frank Everson is now finishing second place in the wheelchair competition as we speak. And Butch, you can't help but notice, we talk about the physical pain it takes to run this. Your arm, it gets larger as you go along the race, and actually had a friction problem today.
Actually, I don't feel that, though. When I feel that's when I get in the shower. then it'll hurt like hell.
How about your time today? The heat kept it down a little bit?
Yeah, as I said, in the stomach cramps, I backed off, and I was looking at a 52 probably before the stomach cramps came on, so I backed it off and ended up a 56 and some change, which is okay, I guess.
Well, congratulations. You did a terrific job. Good to see you win it for the second year.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, we'll throw it back to you guys, and we'll catch up with some of the runners now in the mini marathon. Wish TV.
Thanks very much, Mark. As we look at Gary Romesser, he is on the track, around the turn, and headed home.
Yeah, he's on the final straightaway. Looks real strong. I don't think that Gassman's going to be able to catch him at this time. It's going to be very difficult for him to close the gap. You can see the turnoff going into the pits. Gary looks very good. He's got about a 40 to 50 meter lead on Neil Gassman out of Illinois.
And again, keep in mind that this is a 2.5-mile oval. 1:04.21 is our unofficial running time, but with a 2.5-mile oval, just because he hits the home stretch, I mean, he's still...
yeah, it's not like a track meet.
No,
it's not like
he's
you have
still
100 meters to go.
a long way to go.
You know, that's a half-mile straightaway. At least, once you finally straighten out, you can see the turnoff there to the pits as they're starting to straighten out. So, I mean, there's a long stretch ahead. But, you can kind of time it and see. Gassman's running a nice race, but I just don't know that he's going to catch Gary unless the stride cadence increases at this time. He starts to turn him over. Gary looks very good. This is Bill Wilhelm. Bill and his daughter Heather, and it looks like they are just past the Coffin Hill area, running real well. Bill's one of the neatest people you'll meet. The whole family is just a super family here in Indianapolis.
People run the Mini for lots of different reasons, and in this report, Wish TV's Ray Rice introduces us to Bill Wilhelm, the man you see who has run in the Mini Marathon for 15 years. His wife Judy also runs in the Mini, and so do all of his 5 children, including his daughter Heather, and this year they have a special reason to run. And this is Gary Romesser, your leader at the 500 Festival Mini Marathon. And he is followed there closely by Neil Gassman, who is behind him out of turn 4 as they come down the straightaway.
We're about 2 minutes from home. I'm going to find it very difficult for Gassman to catch him. Gassman looks strong, but Gary looks like he's pumping.
Gary Romesser followed by Neil Gassman, and if Gary Romesser can hold on, as it appears he will win his 5th 500 Festival Mini Marathon. As he is coming down the main straightaway now, the guys will finish at what is the start-finish line for the 500-mile race and the finish line for the 500 Festival Mini Marathon. as we bring them home, Dennis.
You look at Gary Romesser. First off, think about this, people out here watching. The guy's 40 years old. The old myth that, hey, man, I can't be, I can't stay in conditioning, so like that. I'm 35 and 40 years old. Baloney. Gary's living proof that somebody in the late 30s, in the 40s can get out, work out, and get in shape. Gary is right now, currently, and of course we're halfway into the 1991 year, is the #1 Masters runner in the United States on the roads, and he's showing you why. Looks extremely good. Strong arm cadence. Look at the arms driving. When you're tired, the name of the game, go to your arms. The arms are going to be the counterweight, the counterbalance for your rhythm and your legs. It's going to be virtually impossible unless Gassman turns into Carl Lewis to be able to catch.
107.18 is the unofficial time.
Yeah, the weather, we can blame Randy Ollis on this. The weather stole the 106.25. He'll have to get that on another day, but I think Gary is going to hold him off and win. He's approaching the finish line. Gassman running quite well in second, doing an excellent job.
Gary Romesser will win his 5th 500 Festival Mini Marathon. And Neil Gassman, it appears, will place second. No need to look back, Gary. You got it.
I don't know. Gary's kind of checking, making sure. There's always that uncertainty. You never know, the legs will lock up on you and so forth. Heading into the chute area now. I wish I knew the exact area where that was the yard of bricks. I think he feels confidence. He knows it's in there. Good job, Gary. It was great win for you. His year's running real well. He should do quite well out on the Master Circuit.
Neil looks real strong.
Waving to the family, waving to the crowd, and so forth. Proud moment for Gary. Win number 5.
Here's the winner.
Gary Romesser wins the 500 Festival Mini Marathon. Neil Gassman will be second, and when we come back, we will talk to the winner. We're going to let him catch his breath, and we'll be back with more as you see Neil finish on the 500 Festival Mini Marathon.
For those two have the race all to themselves.
Noble Romans on value. The enormous amount of toppings found in just one large Noble Romans Monster Pan Pizza weigh twice as much as the toppings from the guys who offer you 2 pizzas. So why buy 2 when you get more with 1? For a lot less money. Noble Romans. For a limited time, get a Monster Pan Pizza with 3 toppings for just $8.99.
It's a monster of a value.
Only at Noble Romans.
In the past, I've never been what you'd call a big winner. But today, I'm playing hot top. It's true. Every top is a winner. Cool. A Hardee's Big Deluxe Burger.
Play Hot Tops from your Coca-Cola bottler and win instantly.
Whoa, primo trips to Indiana Beach.
Just look under specially marked tops on 2-liter Coca-Cola products.
Yikes, free trips to Florida on US Air.
You could even win an official Indy 500 car, the hot all-new Dodge Stealth RT Turbo. Hot Tops from Coca-Cola. They're one hot property.
When I shop for my family, they don't say much about the brands I choose, except for Mike Sell's potato chips. They say it has to be Mike Sell's, because they really do taste better. That's because they're prepared in 100% premium peanut oil, which makes them so naturally delicious.
When it comes to potato chips, everyone in the family loves Mike Sell's. And whether it's old-fashioned, groovy, or original, they all agree. Mike Sell's. They are delicious.
There are those who thirst for something different, something beyond the ordinary. For them, there is a beer that refreshes like no other. Michelob Dry. Once you've experienced its bold taste with no aftertaste, there's no going back.
From up top, you can see the Wish TV banners at the finish line of the 500 Festival Mini Marathon. There's the famous stick right there on the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Mark Patrick is down in the finish line area, and he is standing by live with 5-time champion Gary Romesser. Mark?
To the left side chute. All the male runners to the left side chute.
Well, as we look at the finish line, Gary Romesser really did run a good race.
Okay, the interview doesn't look like it's ready. Gary finished just about 13, 14 seconds ahead of Neil Gassman, so we were right. It was about 70 or 80 meters on the finish. Tremendous time, 1:08.24 unofficial. Gary, again, you know, you give into the heat. Heat's going to take a lot of times away. Usually when you get conditions like this, most runners know, hey, throw times out the window. Let's compete. Let's go and race.
As we look at some of the other runners now, Eric Halverson, by the way, is we have an update on Eric. He is at the Velodrome. I know Eric's goal was to run between 9:30 and 10-minute miles, and you think, well, you know, what about, 10-minute mile? Can't be that fast. Well, when you're stringing 13 together of them.
Now, to put things in perspective, give you an idea how fast Gary ran. Go down to your local track in your neighborhood and run a lap, and try to run a lap in 1 minute and 15 seconds. And then run 51 more after that.
There's Eric at the Velodrome. How are you, bud?
Taking a rest.
Doing okay. Well, I would keep going, but I had to wait for the show, so it gives me a good excuse to rest my legs. We've been doing, right now with the delay, this is probably the 12-minute mile pace, 11 to 12. We picked up a pretty good breeze out in this neighborhood. We're out by the interstate, and there was a breeze coming across as we were getting up into the neighborhood of the nursery, the City Park Nursery, and I think just so I don't slow down the show a little bit, I'll just go ahead and pick up the pace, and this is one of the fun parts. We got a pretty good hill. Some people will walk it, some people will run it, but since I've been standing around waiting, I'll run.
We're keeping an eye on you, big guy.
Okay, see you in a bit.
All right, thanks. Eric Halverson doing a great job today, giving us the first-person look at the 500 Festival Mini Marathon. We're back to the Speedway and turn 3. And there's Mark Patrick with Gary Romesser. Mark?
Thanks very much, Freddie. And Gary, had to walk around just a little bit. You were cramping up today.
Yeah, my calves always cramp up on this one. Those turns are tough, and I just try to hang on and see what I can do.
You and Tim Milan were running together around Cold Spring Road about the 35-mile mark, and you seemed to make your move there.
Yeah, I just try to keep the pace good, steady pace, because I know Tim's got good speed and he'd be strong toward the end if he was still there, so I tried to keep the pressure on him, and he seemed to break a little bit there, so I took advantage of it and tried to surge a little bit.
What went through your mind as you came through the tunnel? A lot of people say that's the most difficult part of all.
Well, it's funny, I kind of had spots in my eyes because it got dark under that tunnel, and I was anticipating the finish and hanging on, and it was exciting knowing that I was coming onto the track.
Gary, you've won this race 5 times. Any goals?
Well, this is a really neat race, and I'm 40 now, so I don't know if I'll run another one or not, but it's a nice way to end it if I don't run anymore. And I'd like to say I pretty much would like to dedicate this one to my dad, who's in the hospital right now watching me on TV, so thanks for the coverage.
Well, God bless you, and our best to your father as well. Congratulations, Gary. 5-time winner of the mini marathon in Indianapolis. Freddie, we'll throw it back to you.
All right, Mark, thanks very much, and our best to Gary Romesser's father as well, and congratulations to Gary for his 5 victories here at the 500 Festival Mini Marathon. You saw Chris Cooper on the course moments ago on the Speedway, and we'll get back to her when we come back with more coverage of the 500 Festival Mini Marathon.
In the past, I've never been what you'd call a big winner. But today, I'm playing hot top. It's true. Every top is a winner. Cool. A Hardee's Big Deluxe Burger.
Play Hot Tops from your Coca-Cola bottler and win instantly.
Whoa, primo trips to Indiana Beach.
Just look under specially marked tops on 2-liter Coca-Cola products.
Yikes, free trips to Florida on US Air.
You can even win an official Indy 500 car, the hot all-new Dodge Stealth RT Turbo. Hot Tops from Coca-Cola. They're one hot property.
Oh, we just wanted to say thanks. We went from computer printouts to a beautiful new home. I'm amazed. You made a lot of information come to life. Not only do we now know what a purple is, we've enjoyed 2 fires already. And I love the porch. It's sure been nice working with a professional like you.
For over 70 years, Tucker has matched more people with the right homes and more homes with the right people. Talk about success.
The thirst for adventure is Michelob Dry. refreshing beyond the ordinary. And once you've experienced the bold taste with no aftertaste, there is no going back.
Dr. Robert P. Maddox on personal injury.
Maybe your accident or injury didn't seem important at the time, but your pain or discomfort continues. Chiropractic treatment provides results and relief without expensive drugs. Working closely with your insurance company, we'll even provide you with a free spinal exam and initial consultation.
Call right now. Maddox Chiropractic Clinic, now at a brand new state-of-the-art facility at South Meridian and Fairview Road in Greenwood.
As we look at Coffin Hill, or very close to that, we can tell you that Chris Cooper, the women's leader, is on turn 4, and she will be heading down the main straightaway and heading toward the finish as she hopes to win the 500 Festival Mini Marathon Women's Division. And this is the Coffin Golf Course at Cold Springs Road. And everybody's kind of making it there.
Oh, yeah, you bet. This is right before the 9-mile mark. People are looking good. Good friend of mine from high school just went by, Jim Fry.
How about that? Never know who you're going to see.
Never know.
You know, that's why we're replaying this thing at 11:30 at night, so everybody who ran can watch themselves on TV. And
you bet.
And now we're on turn 3 at the Motor Speedway.
Let's see if we can identify. You can see the runners coming out and so forth. You remember the picture we saw during Ahern's segment? Showed the very first start of that. I want to thank the guys up at Runners Forum in Carmel for that. Marty Day and so on blew that picture up and brought it to us so that we can have it for the show.
That was Frank Shorter, 1978. That
yeah,
was
the hair was a little longer back then.
It was, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. You see Chris Cooper now working across. The women will finish to the outside. She's moving to the left of the camera. You'll see her come out just a little bit. The women have a separate chute on out to the right. And she, again, she's about 400 or 500 meters from home yet. But looking real well. She's going to win quite easily, I think. I think Andrea Palillo nowhere in the camera field. So Chris Cooper is going to be your women's winner this year.
And we first noticed Chris right near the velodrome area when she kind of pulled out.
Looked like she pulled. She passed Andrea at that point, moved into the lead, ran strong through what's called the hills, through the hill area.
The temperature has come up a little bit now. It's up to 77 degrees as we get ready for the women's finish. So it's gotten a little warmer as expected as we've gone through.
Oh yeah, the hotter, and of course the humidity is staying the same. It's going to be relentless. Randy Ellis mentioned that we might have some showers. That would be a welcome break. Nightmare for volunteers. But again, if it's bad for volunteers, it's usually good for the runners. Chris being helped out. A lot of guys will generally, surround the women's leader, encourage her, and so on. She looks great.
1:19:33 is the unofficial time.
Sure.
As we watch Chris Cooper bring it home.
The course record, of course, by Judy Bogenschutz set 2 years ago, 1:17:59. You can thank Old Man Weather for that. We're not going to get records today, and as I said earlier, when you get heat and humidity, you can't really go for time in a longer distance race such as you have here.
On the far left of your screen, it's Chris Cooper.
Right, this is
the
Tony,
women's leader.
Tony Nading. Tony Nading, of course, was 7th in this race a year ago, running along with Chris, kind of helping her out. Sometimes it's good to have another runner, as you mentioned earlier, a companion or a partner. Chris now approaching about 50, 60 meters in the finish line, looking real strong.
There she is, right in the middle of the track, wearing the green.
And here she comes. Chris, of course, runs for the Sport Tech running team. Sport Tech out of Muncie and Fort Wayne area.
Chris Cooper of Ossian, Indiana, will win the 1991 Mini Marathon for women.
It's always nice to get a little help from the track announcer.
Oh, you bet. Tom Carnegie. You hear his voice as soon as you come through the tunnel, and it seems like that's all you hear for 2 miles. Tom Carnegie.
Let's try this
Chris
one
Cooper. 1:21:17. All right. Good job.
So Chris Cooper is the women's winner of the 500 Festival Mini Marathon. So we congratulate her. And when we come back, we hope to speak to Chris Cooper. Stay with us.
1 hour, 21 minutes, and 18 seconds. 1 hour.
From Touchstone Pictures.
Why don't I start?
It's Bill Murray.
No, I'm not.
On the loose.
False alarm.
Off the wall.
I don't have any jammies.
At the door.
I'm talking to my fish.
In the elevator. Out of control.
I'm going to explode.
And on vacation.
I'm failing.
In America's #1 comedy hit.
It just makes my lips numb to think about it.
Bill Murray, Richard Dreyfuss, What About Bob? Rated PG. Now playing at a theater near you. Check newspapers for showtimes.
Noble Romans on value. The enormous amount of toppings found in just one large Noble Romans Monster Pan Pizza weigh twice as much as the toppings from the guys who offer you 2 pizzas. So why buy 2 when you get more with 1? For a lot less money. Noble Romans. For a limited time, get a Monster Pan Pizza with 3 toppings for just $8.99.
It's a monster of a value.
Only at Noble Romans.
Your man from Train announces an offer worth not waiting for. Don't wait another minute for the comfort of a Train air conditioning system. For a limited time, he'll give you a check for $250 instantly on the spot. No waiting.
Remember, gas is your best energy value. So call Aaron York's Quality Air Conditioning and Heating in Indianapolis or Rex Byers Heating and Cooling in Kokomo for your instant check now.
So what are you waiting for?
All glasses change how you see. No one can change how you're seen like Dr. Tavel. You can be a good sport, or take care of business, have a night on the town, hit the books hard, or find your place in the sun. Many looks for every mood from the area's largest frame selection. Buy a pair now, get a second pair for $1. 2 pairs of glasses in about an hour from Dr. Tavel. 1 hour glasses without the 1 hour price.
Chris Cooper is the winner of the women's division. Chris, originally from Fort Wayne, now living in Ossian. 1:21:17 your time. Not bad for a hot day like today.
Not too bad. Wish I could have ran a little faster, but considering the conditions, it's mainly just a survival.
Only your second Indy mini marathon and you won it.
Yeah, kind of surprised. I don't know, this last week he didn't feel real strong training, and so it really surprised me.
All right, congratulations, Chris. It was great for you, and we had a terrific time. Send it back to you, Freddie. It's been fun watching all the runners finish here at the mini marathon today.
All righty, Mark. Thanks very much. Mark Patrick down at the finish line. We want to tell you that Gary Romesser is the men's winner. Chris Cooper is the women's winner. So for Mark Patrick, Dick Rea, and Dennis McNulty, Dennis, thanks for being with us. I'm Fred Kalil. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
The 1991 500 Festival Mini Marathon has been sponsored by Michelob Dry, Noble Romans, FC Tucker Realtors, and by Diet Coke.